That's great. Well, super to have everybody here. You know, Ken and Michelle, I got to know through the contest, and you know so much about their lives already just by listening to their show tonight. Their parents. Michelle is married, was married. You know, you're not married. There's no woman living in your house now that I didn't know about.
I'm scared of my ex-wife. That's why I still wear this ring.
And so they, you know, I think a lot of people believe that all comedians, all touring comics kind of fall in the same category, that's all you're doing. And there's a lot of different ways to be in this business now. I mean, you can, and you have to make choices along the way as to whether you are going to move to LA or Los Angeles and get a day job and work the showcase clubs and see if something will work out for you that way. Or are you going to be a touring comic, maybe more like Carmen, who you saw earlier, who is single, and you need to be because you're on the road all the time. Or, like these guys, they have families, so they want to stay.
I got a girlfriend, too.
But you want to stay connected to your family.
Yeah,
correct?
but yeah, I got a girlfriend, but I haven't wrote any jokes about her. That's why.
She's not in it.
No, but she's Spanish.
He's scared of her. I told you.
I mean, she's like from Spain, Spanish, not cut your grass Spanish. It's two different Spanishes.
That's right. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's true.
I was going to use that joke tonight, but I was scared.
Now, I'm going to kind of ask, I ask Ken first. Have you balance being on the road with being a dad, correct?
Yes, I have joint custody of my children, so I get them every day from school, and then I do homework with them, feed them, bathe them, and I take them home. And then every other weekend, they spend the night. So the weekends I don't have them, I book gigs. Like even when I send my veils out, I put down kids, no kids, kids, no kids, and then they know. But my ex-wife is real good with helping me get on the road. So she'll be like, don't worry about it. If you go on the road, you can, you know, I keep the kids for a couple of weeks. Because I got like a couple of months where I'm going to be on the road for like 3 straight months. And so she'll watch the kids. I just got to give her money.
And in your case, you're married. So your husband, what's his name?
Tim.
Tim. Tim watches the kids, but still, how much can you be away from home and it be okay with the family?
Actually, my son's homeschooled, and they're with me 95% of the time. They go on the road with me.
Really?
Yeah, they go everywhere I go. He's one, and since he's been one, they've always been on the road. My kids know the road, and they know we go hotel, what they can and can't touch, and all that stuff. Yeah. In a lot of hotels you get put up in on the road, they can't touch anything. True. And it's crazy because my kids bring their own sleeping bags. Like, is it that hotel? Yeah, baby. It's true.
Yo, what prom they go to?
He's in kindergarten. He ain't going to prom.
Okay, well, he
yet.
gonna have to go to the prom someday. You gonna have a dance in your backyard?
So when you take the kids on the road, is Tim with you?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Now, so Tim has the flexibility in his job to be able to do that.
Yeah, we never expected it to happen. When we made the move to make comedy a full-time thing, he went to his job and he's like, I guess I'm gonna have to step down you're gonna have to let me go because they don't have part-time positions. And the guy's like, you know what? We want to keep you on staff, so you work when you can work. Oh. And so it's a blessing. It's a huge blessing that God made a way for that to happen. To where if I'm working, he's at home doing school with the kids and all that stuff. Very nice.
So Ken, and I'm going to ask you about the same question.
That is a black man's dream. Hey, dog, come in when you want to come in. All right, for real? Yeah, whenever you want. Seriously? You fucking with me? No, whenever you want to come in. All right, dog. Oh, I ain't been to work in 6 months, yo.
Yeah, but when he's home, he's doing laundry. He's good at laundry.
I did laundry, too. At this laundromat right here.
That's why you wearing my shirt, because you couldn't do laundry.
I wear this shirt all the time because I actually like possum.
Possum's not bad if you cook it right.
That's what white people say.
You gotta marinate it.
It's white people in here. I gotta kiss their ass by these DVDs.
So what is your vision of yourself in stand-up comedy with with a family and everything, and what else you've got going on?
Man, honestly, I don't know. I go through these spells of where I love comedy, and like this year, I kept telling people this was it for me. This is gonna be my last year because I wanted to go back to school. Because I'm former military, so I got a GI Bill where I can go to school. But I also have a day job that pays great. I got a 401k. I got stuff that comics don't have. I got health insurance. A lot of comics don't have that. So I have
no comics have.
Yeah, I have all of that. So I don't know. I've been teetering back and forth on this might be my last year doing comedy, and
really?
I might better myself. It's not that I'm not doing it for the. I'm just saying that.
You know,
but you have to
woman
be in comedy to understand what we go through, and it can get very frustrating sometimes.
You know what? When the crowd reacted that way, as far as you not quitting, she didn't. She was like, good riddance.
She's still getting free DVD.
Whose mom is this?
Yeah, she's like, she when I walked out, she's like, She was like, I thought I saw a white comedian picture on the marquee. Kenneth Miller sound.
Well, you know, I had another.
Okay.
I had another.
Kiss me on the cheek, though.
I had another comedian years ago who had been touring, married. The kids got older, and his wife finally said to him, we can't have Daddy on the road all the time, you know, and you're not making that kind of money. You know, you're not making Larry the Cable Guy, Jeff Dunham money. You're making regular road money, and Daddy needs to come home, or we're out of here. And he made the choice to come home, and get a job like you already have. But he told me, he goes, I'm quitting comedy totally. And I was like, but you love it. Why would you quit it totally? Because you could still, for the rest of your life, you could do it on weekends. You could do it just like you're doing now. Pull down an extra chunk of money that would be fun, and it's something that you love to do. I mean, that would be what I would think, and you're really, really good at it. I mean, I don't understand why you would want to quit.
But like I said, I just go through. I was talking to Carmen in the green room while Michelle was on stage because we weren't listening. And,
he's already heard it 7 times this week.
He's been busting her ass all week.
Because I'm famous. Don't nobody know Michelle. And but I just go back and forth with it. I'm like I could go to school and get my certificates because I do Cisco routers, I do networking. I can get my certificate. That's an extra $15,000 at my job. So like it's stuff I could be doing to be making more money at my job and support my kids. I've started a college fund for my kids. They going to Carolina. They have no choice because they're gonna use their grandma address. So. You know, that's the things that go through my mind as a parent. I love comedy. I was born to be a stand-up comic. I found what God wanted me to do, and it is stand-up comedy. Because I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I'm the best fucking comic in this country. I'm not trying to be arrogant, but you have to feel that way about yourself. You have to feel that way about yourself. I tell them all the time, who famous? I'm famous, and Les even said it. You have to believe it in order to achieve it.
That's right.
And Les said that, so I believe that, but I just sometimes get fucking frustrated with comedy.
Well, yeah, and I think the advice I've given young comics before is that you do it because you love it, not for the money. But there's
like
actors and actresses. There's more actors and actresses in this country working for nothing than there are working for money. In community theaters, in regional theaters, even the ones that are working professionally, not making that much money, but they do it out of the love of doing it. But it is so wonderful that you put your family and your children ahead of that, but I think there's a way to balance it too. And so yours is kind of a different path, you know, in that you found a way to be on the road full time, but you're living in Orlando, which is not exactly comedy mecca unless you're going to work for Disney.
No.
So kind of what's your path? Because you've been in it for what, 4 years, 5 years,
right
5 years now. So you're starting now to headline, and you're starting to kind of get out there, and people are getting to know about you. And you got your first national television show, and so.
Well, it's actually working out great because I do churches and I do corporate events too. So those are different than club events because I get to fly. They do. But I can fly in one day, fly back home, kind of thing. But, you know, I don't know why it's working out for me, because most people don't get to work this way. But, you know, we get to go spend 2 weeks in North Carolina, or going through Georgia, or going through Tennessee, and we get to take the kids, and they get to learn on the road with me. And I just want to make people laugh. Everything I talk about is true, and I feel like there's so much junk that goes on in the world that we got to take time out just to laugh at stuff. Even if it's silly things like Spanx underwear or whatever, you got to just find time to laugh. And if that means here, or at a church, or in some dive bar in Georgia, shut up, I'm going to do it.
Well, it sounds like, yes. And it sounds like to me, and I know kind of where your career's at, and it's a lot, I think, where a lot of performance artists are at your point, is that you're still in development. You're still finding yourself getting better and better. And it's kind of like, you know, getting to that point, you got a few more years out there to get to that point where then you'll come to a tipping point of, do I move to Los Angeles? Do I do those kind of things? Questions from the audience? Anything at all? Shoot. Yes.
Just want to ask each of you, who do you model, or who's your favorite comedian that you might partly model yourself after?
Chris Rock. Chris Rock is my favorite comedian. When I was a kid, I was 14 years old, and I cut grass. I did a bunch of stuff to get a bunch of money to see Chris Rock, Chris Tucker, Michael Collier, Cheryl Underwood. I went to go buy my ticket. I was 14. The guy said, "How old are you?" I was like, 22. He's like, "Okay," and sold me a ticket. So me and this girl go on a date to this comedy show. I had a blast. I got to see my idol as a young man. This was Chris Rock's younger years before he became big time. And after the show, it was at the Carolina Theater in Greensboro, North Carolina. I lived 17 miles from this place. I caught a city bus there, met the girl there. Her mom picked her up and didn't take me home. I had to walk 17 miles from the comedy club. But I got to see Chris Rock. And at that age, at 14, I said, I'm going to be a stand-up comic. I didn't do it till I was 29, but I knew I was going to be a stand-up comic. So.
What about you, Michelle?
I like Jeff Foxworthy. I get compared to, a lot of people say I remind them of a female version of Larry the Cable Guy. Not because I'm trying to be him. I just come from a lot of trailer park roots. So.
Anybody else? Yeah.
What are the rules about talking about your kids in the air?
There are no rules.
None.
And what are the rules about talking about your children on the air, nationally? Is that what you, whatever?
At a certain age, you're going to care, right?
No, hell no. I told my son, he gets mad all the time. He's like, "Dad, why you talking about me on stage?" I said, these jokes about them damn Air George, you can shut the fuck up. In those exact words is what I told him.
My daughter loves the fact that I talk about her on stage.
She got a headshot hanging on the wall.
Absolutely, she does. She started to toy around with stand-up comedy. She's 19 now. But even when she was little, I mean, the first bit I did about her was something that she did when she was 3 years old. And it was a true story, and it was great. And so she liked that she was in the show. And I don't think that any of us, and even the comics that do a lot of, I'm trying to think of comics that might do something kind of brash about their kids, maybe Louis C.K. or somebody like that. But still, it's true stories. They're true stories. And I think what's great is, I don't know how the audience feels, but I think it's wonderful when you hear a comic tell the truth about raising kids, and it is hard, and sometimes you don't like them. You love them. Sometimes you don't like them. You know, and because a lot of you feel that way and go, and might feel a little guilty about it.
That's how Bernie Mac was the best at that. And he said, I can say things that you guys can't say. I can say, but you're thinking it. You can't, you want to bust your child upside the head. You can't say that. But comics, we can get on stage and say, yeah, I'll bust my kid upside the head. But, in a comedy, but in your head, you're thinking, yeah, I wish I could bust my kid upside the head, too. So that Bernie Mac was the best at doing it. Yeah. Best at doing that.
Another question? Yep. Okay.
Michelle, do you have a relative named Jean up in North Carolina?
No, I don't.
Greenville?
No, I'm not from Greenville.
I know you're not
from
there, but yeah.
No, maybe we're all related.
What's Jean's last name?
No, I'm married. I'm a married Harrington. My maiden name is Miller.
But we wasn't never married. Just let y'all know, I'm Miller also. I'm from North Carolina. That's nothing. They ain't got nothing to do
People
with
do think they're a couple. On the radio the other day, they thought they were man and wife.
I
Yes.
don't mess with white women.
Shoot him.
White women are murdered.
You had a question over here?
See?
Yeah?
It'd be an episode of Snapped. What?
You guys really realize that you're funny?
Tonight. I'm just kidding.
When did they realize they were funny? I'm gonna take it as, when did they realize they were funny enough to be a professional comedian? Yeah, to hit that level. Well, I think you probably
I
knew
was
it.
at my job. I've always been a funny kid because I'm like I said, I'm number 8 of 11 kids, so I had a big family. And when I say I wore hand-me-downs, I really wore my sister's hand-me-down. So I used to get picked on a lot. So I had to make fun of people, and as I made fun of them, jokes just kind of coming out of it. So when I worked for Sprint, I worked for Sprint in a call center, and all my friends were like, dude, you should really do stand-up. So my first time on stage, I took 85 of my coworkers with me and destroyed it because they were all my friends. I went back the next week and bombed horribly because I came by myself. But that's how it goes. But I knew, I said, dude, I can do this. I can do it. I just needed to get on stage once.
But you, Michelle?
Get in it.
I was doing church events we had a big church, and we hired a comedian to come in, and afterwards, women were coming up. It was a women's event, coming up to me going, we should have just hired you to do this. And I didn't know that comedy was even an option, and I definitely didn't know I can get paid for it until I took a comedy class at a club. Like Les has comedy classes. I was in North Carolina, took a class, and then afterwards, somebody saw my graduation and said, I'll hire you to do a show. And I was like, okay. I just thought I was going to get chicken. When they gave me a check, I took a picture of it. I was like, where's my chicken? And it worked. But I really didn't know, and I still wake up every morning going, I support a family doing this. That's just amazing to me.
For me, it was theater. I was at the University of Memphis and haphazardly got involved in the theater department because there was a lot of beautiful women there and very few heterosexual men. And so the odds were way in my favor. And but no, I actually got cast in a play, and the character I had was, it was like an Our Town kind of place. There was a lot of characters, and my character opened the play with a monologue by himself, just standing there with a monologue. And it was a dark comedy kind of thing. He was a mass murderer, but he was also mentally deranged, and yeah, so I was typecast, and it was very funny, and I was able, and I stood up there, and I remember on the first night I didn't know what would happen, and when the audience started laughing at every moment they were supposed to, every moment the laugh was supposed to be there, laugh, and those big laughs. It was 500-seat theater. Big laughs were coming at me. At that point, I went, I've had some wonderful feelings in my life, but I've never had anything. This was beyond everything. I want more of this, So then you were just in search of that.
It's like crack.
Hey, man. Hey, man. No, real quick, I need to address something real quick. You did a funny mass murderer?
Yeah.
Like, it was like Jeffrey Dahmer, like, ooh, I just murdered somebody, and boy, my arm's tired. Like that?
Yeah.
That don't make...
Kind of, sort of. Yeah.
That was funny shit.
Do you guys book your own gigs, or do you have agents?
Well, I'll answer that for these guys. And you don't get agents until you don't even need an agent until you're at a level where you're making 6 figures or better.
Yeah, man.
Because any agent that can do it, because I get young comics that come to me all the time, and they're, they've been doing it for 2 or 3 years, and they're going, I think I need an agent. I go, how much money did you make last year doing comedy? I made $20,000. Well, let me tell you something. Any agent that wants $2,000 is an asshole.
I will say
you don't need an agent. You know what I mean? So you're up at you're at a level where when an agency takes you over, you're already pretty successful, or in some cases you might have an agency that really sees you and wants to develop you, you know what I mean? But that's rare. So these guys book themselves. They get on the phone. They go do auditions. Yeah. They go to comedy competitions. They get in their car. They drive for people to see them. I mean, they're hustling. They are hustling every day.
I will say though, for some situations, like for me, I'm listed on a few agents for churches and corporate events, but it's not. They're not my agent. You don't have to, they aren't booking me tons of stuff. Just a church goes to them and goes, oh, she's on your website. I want her. And he sets it up. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, for me, I get a lot of my dates I get because other comics recommend me, or they'll take me on the road, and I do an audition. I met Les do the Florida's Funniest. I got to do Florida's Funniest.
Carmen that was here tonight was here auditioning for me because he's friends with them, and that's how he got the audition.
And Carmen was fun.
And he was very funny tonight. And I'll probably use Carmen.
Carmen's funny.
Knows what you do.
And he drove
2 hours over here, and he drove big ass 2 hours back right afterwards. To audition for 10 minutes. And hope something will work out. A couple more questions, and we'll wrap it up if we have them. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's a good question, brother. It depends on the type. Like if I get a younger black audience, like a more of a Def Jam black audience, I'll change my act up a lot. Like I'm a little more, I won't say ghetto. Urban. More
that's
urban.
The word.
I'm a little more
politically
urban.
Correct word.
But if I get a more mature, working, older black artist, like the two right here, like no disrespect. If I had an audience full of those, like I would those like mature black people. My act would be what you just saw. I stay with that. But when I do a younger urban crowd, I change my act totally, because sometimes you have to look at the audience like, okay, this might not work how I want it. Because the worst show I've ever had in my life, I auditioned for Def Comedy Jam. Now, my dream was to host Def Comedy Jam. Martin Lawrence was the original host, and I've always wanted to do that. I'm not, Big Dog, you like black comedy, I like you. I'm not an urban comic at all. I'm not an urban comic, so I went and did my normal act, and I'm talking about 7 minutes of total silence. They cut the music on me. I was bombing so bad, and I got on stage, and I cried. Carmen, I think Carmen was there. Carmen Balone was there, and I was in the back. He was like, I'm sorry, man. I was like, I'm going home. But then I've learned to tailor my act to the audience now. I've learned.
Yeah, every single crowd is different. We've done 6 shows this week, and almost every single one of them is different.
Totally different.
And we do around the same material, but it can go a totally different way. Like, outstanding. Well, depending, we ain't sold nothing yet. We'll find out.
Yeah. Y'all better buy some damn DVDs. Top that Late Show last night. They bought everything.
They bought my car. Y'all want a car?
We sold Les's condo that we stayed in.
Yeah, they did. We'll take one more question if we have it. We have a good one? Yes, right back here.
I was going to ask Michelle, how about the difference in your act from the church group?
Well, it depends on the... It depends on the church group, honestly. If I do a women's event, I actually cater more and talk more about women's stuff. I do shows with kids in it, so it can be anything. And when I go with a church or a private event, I can cater my show to them. If it's a Southern Baptist, I know what I can and can't say.
Most everything.
Right. Well, last year I was hired for a church. It was the funniest thing in the world because the woman told me, she goes, it's a diverse event. And I got there, it was an all-black church, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But they were having a formal black and white ball and didn't tell me that. I showed up the only white person in a red dress. Very traditional church. It was the fun. And I just got on stage and I was like, I'm glad I brought the diversity. And they got me booked again this year for their event. So it just depends on the church and on the event. I'm clean in every show I do, but I know that I can say this because he don't like clean. All right. Y'all counted all the cuss words he said. I prayed for him, every one of them.
They got a click.
Ladies and gentlemen, big hand for Ken and Michelle. They're going to go outside and get set up. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. Stick around for just a second. I got a couple announcements. Thanks to people that tuned in to our podcast anywhere on the World Wide Web. I'm sure there were 8 people in China that went, what the fuck is that? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out. Thank you for supporting us. Of our website.
My corporation name, and that's what I took. Yeah.